In August 2012, Syrian rebels captured a government armory containing 5,000 rifles. Weapons designed for the Wehrmacht, stamped with eagles and swastikas, and manufactured in factories that had not existed for 67 years. Instead of becoming museum exhibits, these rifles returned to combat. The Second World War ended in 1945, but 15 of its infantry rifles continued to see service. These weapons outlived the conflict, offering case studies in industrial power, doctrinal adaptation, and the mathematics of combat. What determines whether a weapon outlasts its war? Longevity depends on three factors: production volume, ease of maintenance, and the continued availability of ammunition. 15 specific rifles illustrate this trajectory, shaping the Second World War and influencing conflicts from Korea to the present day. Number 15. Volkssturmgewehr. By February 1945, the collapsing German industrial base forced the regime to arm civilians for a final defense. The Volkssturmgewehr was assembled from 39 stamped metal parts and required no precision machining. The Gustloff 5G-1-5 utilized a gas-delayed blowback system later seen in the Heckler & Koch P7 pistol. In 1945, however, the design remained unconventional and untested. Roughly 10,000 units were produced. Lacking official inspection stamps, they were serialized only by order of regional leaders. These were political gestures, rather than military weapons, issued to old men and boys in a war that was already lost. The rifle's legacy remained limited to its gas delay mechanism, a solution preserved in peacetime long after the militia forces had been defeated. Number 14. Gewehr 41. In 1940, German ordnance officials requested a semi-automatic rifle with a prohibition on drilling gas ports into the barrel. This restriction proved catastrophic. Both Walter and Mauser utilized the bang system, a muzzle-mounted cone that fouled quickly. Field maintenance proved nearly impossible, and 25% of Mauser's production was returned as unusable. Concurrently, Soviet soldiers utilized the SVT-40, a conventional gas-operated rifle. German engineers studied captured examples and realized their own design restrictions caused the failure. The G41 cost Germany 3 years of development. By the time German industry corrected this error, American factories were already producing 4,000 Garans daily. Number 13. Gewehr 43. The Gewehr 43 corrected previous failures by adopting a conventional gas piston derived from captured Soviet rifles. German engineers had finally succeeded in building a competitive semi-automatic weapon. Germany manufactured 402,000 units. In contrast, the United States produced 5.4 million Garans. The ratio was 13-1. The rifle demonstrates that engineering solutions are ineffective without the industrial capacity to implement them at scale. Number 12. FG-42. Following heavy losses on Crete in 1941, the Luftwaffe commissioned a weapon to serve simultaneously as a rifle, automatic rifle, and light machine gun. The result was the most technically advanced infantry rifle of the war. Between 7,000 and 9,000 were manufactured. During its most famous deployment at the Gran Sasso raid to rescue Mussolini, the Guards surrendered without a shot being fired. The weapon's significance became apparent post-war, when American engineers combined the FG-42's rotating bolt with the MG-42's belt feed mechanism to create the M60 machine gun, a weapon that defined firepower in the Vietnam era. Number 11. Boy's anti-tank rifle troops carrying the boy's anti-tank rifle nicknamed it Charlie the Bastard. Weighing 36 pounds, the weapon was already marginal against 1940s armor and obsolete by 1942. Despite this, Platoon Sergeant Major John Shepard used a boy's rifle to disable 2 German tanks in Norway in April 1940. The rifle was effective against early war armor, but that tactical margin disappeared within months. During the Korean War, Marines modified surviving examples for experimental long-range sniping beyond 2,000 yards, turning a failed anti-tank weapon into a platform for extreme-range ballistics. These first 5 rifles illustrate the limitations of industrial capacity and timing. The victors had resolved their infantry weapon issues before 1942, while benign jungle carbine. The jungles of Southeast Asia necessitated a more compact weapon. In 1944, British designers released the jungle carbine, featuring a shortened barrel, lightening cuts, and a flash suppressor. The weapon suffered from the wandering zero phenomenon, where the point of impact shifted unpredictably. The War Office labeled the issue inherent to the design, and while modern testing disputes the severity, the controversy persisted, demonstrated that infantry rifles could be shortened for specialized roles, a concept that influenced development, leading to the modern M4 carbine. Number 8. M1903 Springfield. The M1903 Springfield entered service in 1905 and remained active until the 1970s, the longest service life of any American rifle. Upon its replacement by the M1 Garand for general infantry use, the Springfield transitioned to a sniper role. Marine snipers utilized the weapon for kills at 1,000 yards during the Korean War. However, receivers manufactured before serial number 800,000 utilized improper heat treatment, resulting in brittle steel. The civilian marksmanship program continues to warn against firing these specific units, citing a century-old metallurgical flaw. Number 7. M1917 Enfield. When the United States entered the First World War, production shortages at Springfield Armory necessitated converting British production lines to chamber American ammunition. The M1917 subsequently became the war's most numerous American rifle. 75% of the American Expeditionary Force carried M1917s. On October 8, 1918, Corporal Alvin C. York utilized one to capture 132 German prisoners and 35 machine guns. The M1917 remains the only First World War rifle in active service, currently used by Denmark's Sirius patrol for polar bear defense in Greenland. A rifle designed in 1917 is still serving in the 2020s. Number 6. Barham 1918A2. The Marine Corps calculated a bar gunner's combat life expectancy at 30 minutes because enemy doctrine prioritized them as targets. At Lafayette Causeway in Normandy, Private First Class Charles de Glopper drew fire with his BAR to allow his squad to escape. He continued fighting until he was killed, becoming the only 82nd Airborne soldier to receive the Medal of Honor for the Normandy campaign. The BAR drove a shift in doctrine, evolving the 13-man squad into 3 4-man fire teams built around the automatic rifle. This organizational structure persists today. While early examples highlighted failure, this group represents adaptation. Production scale determines deployment, but doctrinal impact determines relevance. Number 5. M1 Carbine. In November 1950, during the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, the M1 carbine began to fail, in temperatures reaching 30 degrees below zero. Standard lubricating oils congealed, often requiring warm-up shots for the action to cycle. The .30 carbine round also lacked stopping power against heavily clothed personnel, leading to standing orders for headshots. With 6,250,000 units produced, the carbine bridged the gap between pistol and rifle, creating the category now known as the personal defense weapon. Number 4. Lee Enfield No. 4 Mk1. At the Battle of Mons in 1914, German soldiers mistook British rapid fire from Lee Enfields for machine gun fire. The Mad Minute drill required 15 aimed hits at 300 yards in 60 seconds. In 2008, NATO forces in Afghanistan reported accurate fire from Taliban fighters using Lee Enfields manufactured in the 1940s. The rifles were still effective at ranges that surprised soldiers equipped with modern optics. Today, the Bangladesh police continue to issue Lee Enfields. The rifle outlasted the British Empire, remaining in use where reliability and availability outweigh. On January 26, 1945, General Patton described the M1 rifle as the greatest battle implement ever devised. Entering service in 1936, the Garand made the United States the only nation to equip its infantry with a standard-issue semi-automatic rifle before the war. This provided a decisive advantage, offering 2 to 3 times the practical rate of fire compared to bolt-action opponents. Peak production reached nearly 4,000 rifles per day in January 1944. The Garand proved that semi-automatic rifles represented the future of infantry combat, a standard adopted by every major military within 20 years. Number 2. Karabiner 98K. German industry produced 14 million Kar 98K rifles. This scale of manufacturing determined the weapon's longevity more than its tactical qualities. At Stalingrad, 300,000 German soldiers carried these rifles. Following the surrender, the Soviet Union redistributed captured stocks to proxy forces globally, fueling Cold War conflicts in Vietnam, Korea, the Middle East, and Africa. In 1948, Israel purchased 35,000 units from Czechoslovakia, using the standard infantry weapon of the Third Reich to secure Israeli independence. As recently as 2019, ISIL fighters were documented carrying Kar 98KS No. 1 STG-44. In 1944, the introduction of the Sturmgewehr 44 rendered existing rifles conceptually obsolete. It stands as the world's first true assault rifle. The weapon utilized the intermediate 7.92 by 33 mm Kurz cartridge, which reduced recoil and enabled controllable automatic fire effective to 300 meters. The STG-44 was optimized for the reality of combat rather than established doctrine. Soviet teams examined captured prototypes in 1943, leading to the development of the 7.62 by 39 mm round. Designer Hugo Schmeisser was subsequently relocated to the Soviet Union to assist in arms development. Every modern assault rifle traces its lineage to the STG-44. East Germany sold 4,500 units to Syria in 1964. These rifles resurfaced during the 2012 rebellion until ammunition supplies were finally exhausted in 2017. These 15 rifles represent distinct studies in industrial capacity and operational reality. Those that endured were produced in the millions, maintained with minimal tooling, and utilized ammunition that remained available for decades. Modern conflicts reinforce the lesson that industrial depth determines endurance, evidenced by the use of stored Mosin Nagants in Russia and Lend-Lease Thompson submachine guns in Ukraine. During the Second World War, an estimated 45,000 rounds were expended to kill one enemy soldier. American industry produced 41 billion rounds. These rifles survived because millions of soldiers did not. Although the Second World War concluded in 1945, the weapons never stopped fighting.